and welcome to our LakePoint Kids online family experience. I'm Ms. Rachel. I'm super glad you're joining me today. Today's going to be a good day. I just know it. But I can tell you, yesterday certainly was not a good day. I do not want to repeat that day ever again. In just one short day, I was able to fall down the stairs, lock myself out of my house, break my favorite coffee mug, get a hole in my best t-shirt, drop a freshly made pie on the floor, and lose my wallet. Yes, it was quite the day. I couldn't wait to go to bed and start a fresh new day today. You know, in the moment, it was really rough, but looking back, it's almost laughable. I mean, how many bad things can go wrong in just one day? I know. Let's turn my bad day into a game. I'm going to give you two bad day options. You choose which one you would rather experience. Okay, would you rather fall down the stairs or stub your toe? Would you rather lock yourself out of the house or the car? Would you rather break your favorite mug or your favorite toy? Would you rather get a hole in your best t-shirt or your best pair of pants? Would you rather scoop up a dropped pie off the floor or a dropped pizza off the floor? Would you rather lose your wallet or lose your running shoes? Well, my hope is that none of that happens to you, but even if it does, you are able still to find joy in the midst of it. All right, we've been talking about joy all this month, so for the last time, let's review what we mean. Joy is choosing to celebrate what God is doing. I'll count to 3 and we'll say it together. 1, 2, 3. Joy is choosing to celebrate what God is doing. Happiness is based on what's happening around you, while joy is based on what's happening inside of you. And God can be what's happening inside of you, able to provide you joy because of who He is and what He's done, no matter what is going on around you. God takes joy very seriously, and He wants you to experience it. Check out our verse of the month. A cheerful heart makes you healthy, but a broken spirit dries you up. Proverbs 17, verse 22, Nerve. Having joy is good for your spiritual health and your physical health, and that's why God can provide you joy through Him. All right, if you're at home today, try saying the verse while skipping, doing push-ups, and doing sit-ups. If you're at LakePoint Kids on site with us, and turn your attention to the stage. So joy, what is that again? Well, joy is choosing to celebrate what God is doing. And our bottom line or focus point of today is God will give us joy. Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. God will give us joy. And here to tell us more about that is John, Brandon, and Kellen.
Hey, I'm Sebastian.
And I'm Skylar.
Today, we're talking about joy, which is choosing to celebrate what God is doing. Speaking of joy, you actually look a little the opposite.
My favorite team lost a big game.
Do you need to be sad for a little bit, or do you want something to cheer you up?
Definitely cheered up.
In that case, I have just the thing.
Of course! Bubble wrap!
It's fun, it's poppy, it's
satisfying.
You know, there are actually a whole bunch of things that are worth celebrating. Like hearing your favorite song,
Sleeping in a bed that's just been made.
seeing a sunset,
Hearing a cat purr.
ooh, free food samples at the grocery store.
Food, of course. What else?
Oh, I've got a good one, but it's gonna take a little bit to set up. Let's make it! One of my favorite things is building Rube Goldberg machines.
A Rube Goldberg machine is a series of silly, complicated chain reactions where one event leads to the next, accomplishing some task like this. The idea was invented by cartoonist Rube Goldberg, who was born in 1883.
And we have everything we need to build a Rube Goldberg machine right here.
Lead the way.
So first, we're gonna take our track. So we're gonna put this on here. Then we're gonna do this one. Perfect. Now we're gonna set it up right here.
Then what?
Oh, blocks, that's what we need.
Okay, Sebastian, take us through your creation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Balloon Blaster 3000. We'll begin with sending our car down the ramp, hitting the blocks.
These blocks?
Of course. Which then hits our domino chain, which then our last domino will hit the tennis ball, go down the ramp, made of chopsticks, and then hit our ruler with the tack at the end, popping the balloon.
Pretty impressive. Ready to try it?
I thought you never ask. 1,
2,
3,
go! Yes! No way! That actually worked!
what do you say we take it up a notch?
I thought you'd never ask.
Here, monkey, here, monkey, here, monkey, here, monkey. No, monkey, no! Who knew it was so hard to find a trained monkey?
The hot water heater was a nice touch.
Ready?
Ready.
Well, rats.
That did not go to plan. Speaking of which, it's time for...
The story before the story.
Today, we're in Habakkuk.
Yes, you heard that right. Habakkuk. It's a small book near the very end of the Old Testament.
Habakkuk was one of Israel's prophets, people who listened to God and wrote down God's words for others.
The prophets lived and worked throughout the history of God's people.
In fact, the Old Testament contains 17 books recorded by prophets.
Many of them wrote during the final years of the kingdoms of Israel and Judah, when foreign nations threatened to attack.
Habakkuk recorded his message during this time as well.
Which is where our story starts.
Take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Erica, and I'm excited that I get to say Habakkuk a lot today. Habakkuk. Okay, so Habakkuk has a fun name, but he lived in Jerusalem during a very difficult time. The northern kingdom of Israel had already been conquered. The southern kingdom of Judah was still free, but enemies were closing in on all sides. Everywhere Habakkuk looked, he saw things going wrong and falling apart. Even in his own country, people had forgotten God. They were fighting with each other and treating others unfairly. Habakkuk called on God.
Lord, I know how famous you are. I have great respect for you because of your mighty acts. Do them again for us. Make them known in our time.
Habakkuk cried out to God to come and fix all these terrible things. And God answered, telling Habakkuk to write it all down. In the end, God promises to bring justice. In the perfect time, everything will be made right again.
The Lord is in his holy temple. Let the whole earth be silent in front of him.
At this point, Habakkuk had a choice. He could look at what was happening around him and panic and lose hope. Or Habakkuk could look at the way God had worked in the lives of the Israelites over and over. He could trust God's promise to bring good out of hard things and right all wrongs. Habakkuk recorded his conversation with God, and at the end, he came to this conclusion.
The fig trees might not bud. The vines might not produce any grapes. The olive crop might fail. The fields might not produce any food. There might not be any sheep in the pens. There might not be any cattle in the barns. But I will still be glad because of what the Lord has done. God, my Savior, fills me with joy.
When terrible things happen, joy does not top our list of feelings. But in the middle of chaos and hardship, Habakkuk chose joy. Let's take a closer look. The fig trees might not bud. The vines might not produce any grapes. The olive crop might fail. The fields might not produce any food. There might not be any sheep in the pens. There might not be any cattle in the barns. Let's be real. If the fig trees don't do so well this year, you probably won't be affected. I mean, unless you really like fig bars. But in Habakkuk's time, the Israelites mostly made a living by farming. They either ate what they grew or what someone nearby grew. So if the crops failed, it was devastating. It meant that no one had enough to eat. The people could starve. Now, it's not a big deal for us now if olives don't have a bumper crop, but there are lots of things in our lives that can go wrong in a big way too. Maybe one of your parents loses their job. Maybe you find out someone in your family is really sick. Maybe your best friend starts hanging out with someone else instead. Maybe you won't be able to play soccer unless you get your math grade up, which feels impossible. Odds are, you can't control the bad thing that's happened, but you can control how you respond. If you focus only on what's wrong, you'll feel hopeless and overwhelmed. But you can choose to take your focus off of your problems, real though they are, and look to God. You can remember how God has helped you in the past and how God promises to make everything right in the future. This is how Habakkuk was able to say, "But I will still be glad because of what the Lord has done. God, my Savior, fills me with joy. Through Jesus, you will be able to live forever with God." That doesn't make your current troubles any less difficult, but it does mean that you can find peace and joy in the midst of them and discover that there's always a reason to celebrate. The end.
Today's lesson is simple but not easy. When things are difficult, we can choose to find reasons to celebrate. The best place to start is with God. You can look at stuff God has done in the past. Look at how He promised to bless the whole world through Abraham's family, provided for the Israelites, and sent Jesus to the world so we can live with God forever. You can look at how God has worked in your own life too, like helping you make friends on that new soccer team, or helping you be brave when you had to get a tooth pulled at the dentist. You can also focus on all of what God has promised to us for the future too, like how He'll make everything that is wrong right again. When you look at what God has done, is doing, and will do, you can always find a reason to celebrate. Choosing to focus on what God is up to doesn't mean, though, that we should pretend that nothing is wrong. You still need to be real with what's happening and how you're feeling. It does mean, though, that you can still choose joy in spite of the tough times. All right, it's time to celebrate now with your small group time, so along with your parent, listen to today's instructions. First, make a list of things God has done that you can celebrate. Things from the Bible, things from your own life, and things from the lives of people you know. Keep talking about this until you begin to feel hope and joy inside as you remember who our God is and what He can do. All right, press pause, enjoy discussion, and then come back for the second set of instructions. Next, take our bottom line or our lesson today and make a quick commercial promoting this idea. Use your parents' phone, with their permission of course, to film it and save it so you can rewatch it later on to remind yourself that this is important truth. Parents, now's the time to either scan the QR code on the screen or head on over to the LakePoint app to fill out our online connection card. Signing your guest book lets us know who is watching and helps us stay connected to you. It also allows you to sign up for our latest LakePoint initiatives and opportunities. So kids, while your parents are busy doing that, why don't you try some of those funny faces John made in our video today? Just a reminder that you can go back and watch your favorite LakePoint Kids online family experiences on our YouTube channel or on our LakePoint app in the Family Resources section. Thanks for tuning in today, friends. I'll see you again next week. Same time, same place. Remember, God will give us joy